And we are in 2 Samuel, chapter 19. That's where we are. It has been a while. I think the last time we had this discussion was at the last business meeting. Isn't that about right? I think so. And then we will go a couple of weeks without having any more discussion until, oddly enough, the next business meeting. So, it was all part of my devious plan. Chapter 19. If you want to go ahead and look forward, it's the end of 8, the beginning of 9.
It's on page 295.
Yeah, roll with that one. Roll with that one. Let's remember where we were. How many of you can remember back to the discussion about where we were last time? What was going on? What had just happened? And let's go from there. Absalom is dead. Who kills Absalom? Joab. And all of Joab's men, right? Joab treats him like a piñata. Whee! And makes up a pincushion from the tree. They then kill him and they bury him to where David can't find him, right? Now what happens next? This was a hot topic. We had this conversation going all over the room. What happened next? David cried, or David unnecessarily wept over his son? Over the gate of the city, to where everyone in the city would know. And what was Joab's statement to David? Well, I don't think it was, don't be a sissy. If you don't stop this, and not Israel's men. Israel's men, you got to remember, there's a distinction in the text between when they talks about Israel, it is not talking about David's allies. It's talking about David's adversaries. David's men, you will lose all of your men who followed you. Get your stuff together and paint a smile on your face and go sit in the throne. And David does. Now, why is that? And we talked about that. Why was that important?
So that he's in control.
So that he's in control?
They were thinking that he was treating their victory like it was a tragedy.
Like a great loss. And it was a personal loss, but here's the thing. When you're a leader, while you may have a personal loss, is it necessary for you to take that personal loss and make it a defeat for everyone who supported you? I'll give you a great example from a political thing that we've been discussing here the last little bit. You were expecting to be the president. You were stunned on Election Tuesday that you didn't win. And your supporters behave like infants because you didn't win. Right? Instead of coming together to heal the nation. Joab is making the point. One of the things you need to do is to bring healing to this nation. First of all, you don't need to make it a defeat. You don't need to take a victory and make it a defeat. Now we come to the part of how then do you handle a victory? David has won. He has routed. His smaller force has routed a much larger force. And here's the sad thing. David's own countrymen have turned against David, correct? The tribe of Judah, that's from the tribe David's with, has turned against David. A great number of them. Okay. And Israel, which would be the other 11 tribes, have turned against him. David now, as king coming in, has two options, doesn't he? What would be one option, somebody? Huh? So he could come in like an Iraqi general and kill everybody in the town that opposed him and say, if you oppose me again, not only will I kill all the males, I'll kill your whole family. That's a possibility, right? How might a king also come back into power after being run off? Huh? Give out presents. I guess. Is there a way other than killing everyone or giving out presents? Huh? So he can reunite. How might that happen, though? Because we're going to discuss it. It's there in the text. But I'm just kind of getting you guys to think about it. I'm not going to go, no, and shoot you. I might say no, but I won't shoot you.
They could have a Super Bowl party.
They could have a Super Bowl party, if there was a Super Bowl party. There ain't no party like it. No, we won't go down that road. Let's look, starting at the end of verse 8. Now Israel had fled, every man to his own home. Those are the individuals that sided against David. They fled to their own home. And all the people were arguing throughout all the tribes, saying, the king delivered us from the hands of our enemies, and he saved us from the hands of the Philistines. And now we have fled out of the land of Absalom. But Absalom, whom we appointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore, why do we say nothing about bringing the king back? What's Israel's problem? They're scared. Why? Someone over here. This side's been answering all the questions. They tossed out the only option or the legitimate option. See, it's not like there were two people vying for position of king and the people voted and we elected David J. Trump over Absalom Clinton. David was the legitimate king because God said he's the king. And all of Israel threw him out. And they backed a usurper. Now, if you backed a usurper in those days, usually what happened to you? You ended up going with the fishes, right? I gave you a pair of cement kimono. And pushing up daisies. Mix my mafia metaphors there. This is a real fear. Think about it. There are nations today when there is a coup d'etat and it fails, where the people that support the coup d'etat disappear, and it's not like they go to someplace nice. They're not in Bora Bora. They're not in Club Med. They're in a dungeon somewhere being tortured by someone going That's a real source of fear. And has David done stuff like this before? That's a question. That wasn't a statement. Okay. Now, what did David? Look at something else David had done. David had been something that other folks hadn't done. Notice that there mentions that David has delivered them from the hand of who? The Philistines. Did Saul deliver Israel from the hand of the Philistines? No. He has won certain skirmishes, but he could never overthrow the influence of the Philistines in the lives of the Jews. David did. Absalom they backed to be king, and Absalom in his first battle and engagement with his daddy lost, like Green Bay lost to the Falcons.
Yeah, but didn't the battles that Saul won, David won them for him?
David won them for him. Very apt observation of you there, Walter. It's where David gets that catchy little tune that he killed tens of thousands and Saul only a myriad thousand. Then Saul's target acquisition radar was not functioning properly. Now what do? We're in a quandary. What should be our next step? Now what does Israel begin to think is their next step here? What's the next step Israel decides to take? Bring David back. Now remember, Israel represents how many tribes? 11. David is from which tribe? Judah. Then that makes the 12 tribes. Notice what happens here. Verse 11. And King David sent a messenger to Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, and says to the say to the elders of Judah, why should you be the last to bring the king back to his house? When the word of the Lord, when the word of all of Israel has come to the king, you are my brothers, you are my bone and my flesh. Why then should you be the last to bring me back? What's he saying? Well, they haven't even offered to bring him back yet, but kind of in that vein. David is hearing from whom about him being put forward as king? Starts with an I, ends in an L. He's hearing from Israel. We need to bring the king back. But yet, whom has yet to come out to David and bring him back in? His own brothers and sisters. His own country members. And they were also the ones that backed Absalom more to the hilt than any other. Let's see how David does this. See how David gets back. And say to Amas, or Amasa, or however you want to pronounce it, are you not my bone and my flesh? God do so to me and more, if you're not a commander in my army from now on in the place of Joab. And he swayed the heart of the men of Judah as one man. So they sent word to the king, return both you and all your servants. So the king came back to the Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to meet the king and bring the king over to the Jordan. How does David secure his throne again? We just read it. He appointed? All right, Marcy's answering all the questions, and so is Raymond. How does this happen? What did he do?
With the appointment of this guy.
He reached out to the other side, to a family member who would have been on his side or Absalom's side. And he asked, and he told him he would make him a... In whose place?
And Joab is the one that killed Absalom, right?
Well, now you've got a problem here. Who's Joab?
Commanding general.
And what did Joab help David do? And has Joab been an indispensable person for David's armies? Kind of hard to get rid of. And oh wait, both of them are?
Related.
Yes, they are, and so is this other man. This is almost like an Arkansas nightmare. If you support me, I will make you either like Joab, where you are a commander equal to, or I will put you in a place. We'll have to look and see later on. I'm not giving you that away yet. I'll make you offers you can't refuse. And what does he do? It's not hard, it's right there. The individual in question, Amasa, rallies support inside Jerusalem, and they react as how? One man. Come back. You are the king. David comes down to the river, and then Judah comes down, and they greet him there, right? Okay, great. Who wants... we'll keep reading. And Simeon, the son of Ger, the Benjaminite, from that place, hurried down with the men of Judah to meet King David. Who remembers Shimei? Huh? That was the guy throwing rocks. And what else? Dust. And what else? He was using some very vulgar and foul language. He was issuing not cursings, but curses, and said nasty things to David. Chapter 16. Somebody read chapter 16, verses 5 through 13, please. Chapter 16, verses 5 through 13.
As King David approached Baram, a man from the same clan as Saul's family came out from there. His name was Shimei, son of
That guy.
Gera, yeah.
Yeah.
And he cursed as he came out. He pelted David and all of the king's officials with stones, though all the troops and the special guard were on David's right and left. As he cursed, Shimei said, get out, you murderer, you scoundrel. The Lord has repaid you for all the blood you shed in the household of Saul, in whose place you have reigned. The Lord has given the kingdom into the hands of your son Absalom. You have come to ruin because you are a murderer. Then Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said to the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over there and cut off his head. But the king said, what does this have to do with you, you son of Zeruiah? If he is cursing because the Lord said unto him, curse David, who can ask, why do you do this? David then said to
Abishai
and all his officials, my son, my own flesh and blood, is trying to kill me. How much more than this Benjamite? Leave him alone. Let him curse, for the Lord has told him to. It may be that the Lord will look upon my misery and restore to me his covenant blessing instead of his curse today. So David and his men continued along the road, while Shimei was going along the hillside opposite him, cursing as he went and throwing stones at him and showering him with dirt.
So, this guy really had it out for David. Who is Shimei's relative? Saul. Is he happy that Saul is dead? He's blaming David for being a murderer, right? Who did David murder? He's blaming David for the murder of Saul. He's blaming David for the murder of Saul's family. But David didn't do any of that. But oh, how the winds of fortune change when the guy you back dies on the battlefield, and now the king who you pelted with stones is coming back with his men. Right? How many of you have ever seen a person like this? Right? Like, you see the negativity that comes out and the nastiness that comes out, but then when the guy he backs fails and the guy's coming in that he was cursing at comes in to be the guy in charge, it's, oh, hey, man, like, I just wanted to let you know, no hard feelings, right? I mean, like, we all kind of get emotional at times, and, I was feeling, maybe I walked into the air conditioning, and but it just went right to my head, and so no hard feelings, right?
No.
I mean, this guy said some nasty stuff. Now, let me ask you, if you were David, and you saw this guy before he opened his mouth, you know why he's there. What would you have the inclination to do? Kill him and rub him out, right? And matter of fact, where Brother Abby read, Abishai goes, hey, let me kill this guy. I just cut his head off. Abishai is whose brother? Starts with a J, has an O, has an A, has a B. He's Joab's brother. Remember, there used to be three of them. One that could run as fast as a gazelle that got stabbed in the gut by... Okay, we'll look at it later. I'm going to test you people on this. There's a written exam at the end of 2 Samuel. It's right there between Chronicles and 2 Samuel. It's there. You got to get 100 or you fail your Jesus test. Hold on.
Can we have a group test, table test?
No notes either. You can only use your Bible. All right, let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. And with him were 1,000 men of Benjamin. Ziba, the servant from the house of Saul. We're going to remember who Ziba was, right? He serves whom? Starts with an M. Ends with a chef. Mephibosheth. Right? And when David was fleeing, what did Ziba do? What? Yes! Yes, it's like saying, God, Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Yes. How did he lie? To what extent did he lie? He packed some mules and took David food. And David said, where did this come from? Not Mephibosheth, right? And who did he implicate as a co-conspirator in David's being unthroned? Starts with an M. Ends in a chef. Mephibosheth. So he lied. So he shows up. All right. Let's keep looking. And they crossed the ford and to bring over to the king's household and to do his pleasure. And Shimei the son of Gera fell down before the king as he was about to cross the Jordan. And he said to the king, let not my lord hold me guilty, or remember how your servant did wrong on the day my lord the king left Jerusalem. Do not let the king take it to heart. I meant it in chapter 16. But now I realize just how wrong I was. That's the actions of a scoundrel, right? We see this in the political circle all the time. We see this. I'm sure some of y'all have family members like this. My sister used to be married to one like this. I meant what I said a couple of months ago, but now, not so much. And then like 3 weeks later goes, no, I really meant it. No, not so much. Here's the thing, is he sincere? Would you take him as being sincere? I certainly wouldn't. You pelted me with rocks, dirt, and curses and call me a murderer. I'm more apt to just put two in your chest and one in your head and go, I can do it because I'm the king.
Javelins, right?
No. David packed a 45. For your servant knows that I've sinned. Therefore, behold, I've come this day, the first of all the houses of Joseph, to come down to meet my lord the king. You know I didn't mean it. I just got emotional. I just got caught up in the moment, even though I was the only one there, throwing rocks, yelling curses. Please don't hold that against me. Yeah, I thought you'd be dead, but you're alive, and the guy I backed is dead. So, notice, here's Abishai loves killing folks, doesn't he, Brother Abby? That dude's answer to everything is, hey, can I kill the guy? Every organization kind of needs an Abishai, because you're like, that way when people need killing, you just go. All right. Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, answered, Shall not Shimei be put to death for this? Because he's cursed the Lord's anointed. Did he curse the Lord's anointed? Is that a sin? Yeah. Is it a capital offense? Abishai sure thinks it is. Christian Abishai thinks everything's a capital offense. Just let me kill him. I got my guns. I'll go over to his house. Bang, 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 bang. We're done. Yeah. Is it a capital offense? What's the difference between killing a man who's God's anointed and laying your hands upon a man who's God anointed, or pelting a man who's God's anointed, or demanding that God kill the man who's God's anointed? What's the difference between that?
Is there one?
It is a matter of the heart, is it not? It's just a degree into the physicality, is it not? I mean, think about it. What is the difference between me wanting someone dead and me actually making someone dead? The actual physical action to make it occur. Right? And some of us can keep very good control of that and therefore we go through life without killing a soul. And some of us are contemplating the person that gets in front of us as we're driving. Right?
We'll have to answer for the same thing.
Yeah. You and I are tracking, I think, more than anybody. I just haven't quite figured out how to cycle the bolt on my rifle while doing this.
Keep practicing.
All right?
Buy a semi-automatic.
I could, but it flings lead all over the car, Brother Walter. I mean, and the powder flare is just, it burns the dash.
Didn't Jesus say committing a sin in your head is the same as actually
Yes,
committing a sin?
amen.
Matter of fact, hating your brother is murder. Yeah, I mean, thinking.
Well, if you're going to bring up this Jesus cat and muddy the water with the facts,
Everybody else will want to flow. It's anything you think, say, or do. Yes.
exactly. So is Abishai off base here? No. Is Abishai, does he have a case to kill this guy? I think he does. I think this guy is a worm, realizing, oh, I backed the wrong guy. How do I fix this? I know. I'll go and go, I didn't mean it, man. I just lost my nerve, and just lost my mind. I didn't know that you were going to win. And I think Abishai, could you ever trust this man to be a leader in your camp again? Nope. No, I wouldn't. I think Abishai's got a case here. And this now marks the difference in how David handles the reunification process and how a lesser man would handle the reunification process. Because here's the thing. In all matters where you have disagreements, you have two options. I'm going to treat the person as though they are dead to me. Or I'm going to be restorative of the person. We only handle these situations in two ways. And a lot of times, sadly, myself included, I will treat the person as though they're dead to me. Hi, how are you? Well, isn't that nice? I don't like you. Oh, that's inside voice, inside voice, inside voice, inside voice, inside voice. Right? We run into people all the time that we really can. My brother-in-law, if he were to show up here, I would be really nice to him. But honestly, the thought inside my head is, boy, if they ever suspend murder for like 24 hours, brother, you better run and run hard. Because I can't run, but I sure can drive fast. Because I dislike the man because of what he's done. Is that the right motive? No, it's not. And we wrestle with that. David would be well within his right to look at Abishai and go, man, just don't get the blood on your uniform, all right, man? Kill him, but, don't mess it up. Where's Joab? He usually likes these things, too. Come on, man. Where's my drummer back there with the rim shot? Crying over the Packers. Shall not Simeon be put to death because he cursed the Lord's anointed? But David said, and notice this is very similar to what he said in 16. What have I to do with you? You sons of Zeruiah. Sons. He's talking to both Abishai and who's another son of Zeruiah? There's three of them. One of them is dead. Joab. There we go. You sons of Zeruiah, that you should this day be an adversary to me. Shall anyone be put to death in Israel this day? For do I know that I am this day the king over Israel? And the king said to Shimei, you shall not die. And the king gave him his oath. I'm still not fully the king in Israel. Shimei is from what tribe? Tells you in the text. Brings 1,000 men from that country, from that tribe. Starts with a B. Benjamin, he's a Benjamite, and he's Saul's relative. You shall not die. Now this goes a long way to reuniting the whole kingdom, right? Because if David comes in and starts killing every member of the plot, will you gain the favor of a nation? No. It'd be like Trump rubbing out the Democrats in Congress. Right? You didn't show up at my inauguration? Kill them for me. Right? This is the way business was done in the ancient Near Eastern world. This is why when you did a coup, you just didn't take these things lightly into hand, because if you failed, your family died. We don't have that concept today. Think about it. If your side lost the election and because of the vote tallies they rubbed you out over it, as in Korea, amazingly, Kim Jong-un wins every year with 100% of the vote. And haven't quite figured that out. We can't get 100% people to the poll, but Kim Jong-un has cracked the code.
There's no protest at the inauguration.
And there's no protesters either. They are all happy he's in charge. How did that happen? Because if you protest the king, you disappear. And we joke about that, but in this world, that is commonplace. You don't ever oppose a king. That's a good way of getting your whole family ventilated. Spears, get it? Anyhow. There we go. Verse 24. Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, came to meet the king, and he had neither taken care of his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes from the day the king departed until the day the king came safely back. But this is important. And when he came back to Jerusalem to meet the king said to him, "Why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth?" And he answered, "My lord, O king, my servant deceived me." Who is his servant again? Ziba. Mr. Cakes and wine for everybody on the trip out of town, who lied to everybody on the trip out of town. "My servant deceived me, for your servant said to him, I will saddle a donkey for myself, that I may ride and go with the king, for your servant is lame, and he has slandered your servant to my lord the king. But my lord the king is like the angel of God. Do therefore what seems good." What is Mephibosheth's appearance designed to convey to David? He was in mourning over the loss of the king. He did not bathe. He did not take care of himself. He did not trim his beard because he was in mourning over David's loss. Had he looked immaculate, would David have a different opinion of what he said? His actions back up his words. See, up until this point, you've got these other two guys coming and go, "Oh man, hey, forgive us because we backed the wrong party. Please don't kill us." But there's nothing in their actions to indicate that they are really genuinely sorry for what they did. There's nothing in their actions to indicate that there's anything noble about what they've done or their penance that they're willing to do. They're just trying to save their very hide. Mephibosheth's appearance represents an individual who truly understands that he has been sold out by a trusted servant, and that the man that he calls king for so long has been wrongly removed from power, and he mourned the loss of the king from the time of his return. You see the difference between the two? Two are just trying to save their life. One has looked at the king and said, not, "Please don't hold this against me," but what is he? What's his remark? "Do as you see fit." For all.
Didn't he also say that as he was a cripple that he would slow David down?
I don't think he says that to him, but I think that's what Ziba says as an excuse. Yeah. Let's see here. Verse 26. "For all my father's house," let's see here, "were but men doomed to death before my lord the king." When David became king, what do kings normally do with the last king's children? Kills them all, and then he takes possession of what? All their land. All the land that Saul had and Benjamin and all over the 12 tribes, David could have laid claim to all of it because he is now king, killed every one of Jonathan's wives and all of Jonathan's children, all of Saul's wives, all of Saul's children. Every person that was in lineage with Saul could die, to include the two Jaspers that showed up at the river. And Mephibosheth's response is, "You could have killed us all when you first took the throne." "But you set your servant among those who eat at your table. What further right then to cry to the king? You could have killed me then. You can kill me now. All that was my father's could have been yours. But instead you've elevated me to the table within your own home, and I have nothing to complain about. David has treated him fairly. Notice that this is not the language that the other two jokers came to David with, is it? And you see the difference between the two that come. Okay, let's keep looking. What further right do I have to cry to the king? And the king said to him, why speak any more of your affairs? I have decided that you and Ziba shall divide the land. And Mephibosheth said to the king, oh, let him take it all, since my lord the king has come safely home. My servant has lied about me. Okay, you split the land up. Because remember, Ziba had heartburn going way back that he didn't get some of the land that was Saul's, that he had to serve a cripple. And so David says, okay, well, we'll solve this problem. We'll split it between the two. And what is Mephibosheth's response to the whole matter? Just give it to him. Think about it. All that he needs is cared for at the king's table, right? Does he ever go and visit these lands? Probably not. He stays in the king's house. That's the decree David gives. Just from right here, how has David handled the situation where, and this is not where someone cut me off in a parking space, someone said mean things about me, someone has done something to me and now I'm upset. This is a betrayal of the closest form. Another family member has sought to kill me, raped 10 of my wives or concubines, and then has sought to engage me in hostile conflict. And I could come back and punish everybody. And that is typically the vein in which most people go. Have you ever watched the movie Count of Monte Cristo with Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce? It will not follow the book. If you've read Alexander Dumas's book, you will get frustrated with it, but it's still a good story. And in the story itself, an young man was wronged grievously, sent to a horrific prison, finds a map that makes him an uber millionaire, and he begins to pursue his revenge. That's how we love movies like this, right? How many of y'all have ever seen the movie Man on Fire? We like movies like The Equalizer. Me and Raymond apparently are the only ones watching movies in this church. I suspect there's people not quite willing to raise their hands. I'll watch those movies faster. Those have an R rating in them. Yeah. Yeah. We like movies like that. Why? Because the bad guy gets his. Here's the thing. Will these bad guys get theirs? Yes. Will they get it under David? We don't know right now, but right now, no. If I were to come into a kingdom and begin to bring healing by destroying everyone's lives who may have opposed me, am I going to get far? I'm going to get about as far as when I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and cried for my son over the fact that he had died and tried to take over the country. David comes in and brings restoration to the nation. And he begins with people who should have died, who we know are scoundrels, who we know probably, if given the opportunity, will betray him again. He does it with the heir of Saul, who grieved for the loss. He does it with the people of Israel. And you're going to see over and over how David does this. And it's amazing. And we see where David comes back to being full circle to the man of God that we knew him from, as opposed to chapter 11 that has led to this entire nonsense. Now he's going to have some more problems here in a little bit. Any questions? What do you think? Any questions? Any at all? Okay. Well, let's close out with a word of prayer then. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for this opportunity to look at your word and an opportunity to look at how to restore. We see David, who is wounded at the loss of his son, and a nation that has ripped itself apart, and how David comes to bring healing and restoration to this nation. Where the inclination would be to kill those who oppose you, David's response is to show grace to those who opposed him. We ask you to be with us in our relationships with others. We put grace over self-hurt. We put grace over insult. Something that's difficult for me to do, and so we ask for your blessing, not just for all of us, but for me as well. We ask for these things in your name we pray. Amen. All right. Well, let's circle up